Hi everyone! Although the completing the square method may seem kind of worthless, tedious, this tool actually can be very valuable in the future math classes that you might have to take. It would be impossible to work with hyperbolic or elliptical functions without this important tool. Also, remember solving quadratic equations such as x squared equals 9? Your instinct may have been to just square root both sides of the equal sign, right? This is a tool we're going to learn how to use properly in this section. 11.1, solving quadratic equations by completing the square. And by the end of this section, you should be able to use the square root property to solve quadratic equations, solve quadratic equations by completing the square, and use quadratic equations to solve problems. Recall that quadratic equations are equations that are in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers. In section 6.6, we learned how to solve these equations by factoring using that zero product property. For example, if we had the quadratic equation x squared equals 9 and we wanted to solve by factoring, the first thing that we would do is we want to get 0 on one side. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides of the equation, so that on the left side, x squared minus 9 equals, on the right side, 0. And then we would factor the left side, which is a difference of two perfect squares, so it has the sum and difference factors of x and 3, because 9 is 3 squared. And then we would set those factors equal to 0 by the zero product property. So x plus 3 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. So we would opposite those number terms, and we find that x equals a negative 3 and a positive 3. Now if we look at the original equation again and square root both sides, we find that the nth root of a to the n is x, but remember it's an absolute value. So the square root of 9 is 3, but that means that we need both the positive and the negative 3 because this is supposed to be an absolute value. And so that is how we use the square root property, and we will use in this section. So in the next videos, we will talk about solving equations with that square root property and by completing the square method.